Hey guys, welcome back to another cast of The Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2, The Rise of the Witch King. I'm your broadcaster, MasterCloud, and today's matchup is going to be a 1 versus 1 played on the map, the Fords of Isen II, between two very strong players. Up in the upper left-hand side, spawning as elves, we have the player Akashi-San, and his opponent spawning in the lower right-hand side as Mordor. It is going to be the player MayShadow. Now, if you guys have been following these following my channels, the games that I've put out recently, these players have played each other twice now, and they are tied up. It is 1-1. If you have not seen those games, definitely go back, take a look at them, especially that first game between these two players. Incredibly interesting and very fun game to both watch and cast. For those of you who aren't familiar, both of these players, incredibly powerful players, especially in the current version of the patch. We are playing on version 2.02 or patch 2.02 version 4.0. That is in fact the required for this tournament that of course these players are playing in right now. Once again, this is the round of 16, so the very first stages of the bracket. Whoever loses this game will in fact be eliminated. There is no losers bracket to fall down into. So both of these players are playing with their tournament lives on the line right now. MayShadow going for some early Orc Warriors, and we see a couple of Lorien Warriors being produced by Andy. They will be making their way down to the south here to begin to engage this slaughterhouse of MayShadow. And it looks like the rally call will in fact go down, and they will begin to work on that slaughterhouse. MayShadow deciding not to cancel it here and will indeed let it fall. The Orc Warriors moving to the north now. A couple of units or a unit of Lorien Warriors going to be moving to the north for Akashi-San as well. Might want to pull them back to deal with these Orc Warriors, but for now his Malon trees should be in a pretty good position. It looks like only has a couple out of the map, as he's basically been mass producing units at this point to get out a ton of units out on the field. These Lorien Warriors going to be engaging a couple of rally called orcs here, or not rally call, it is going to be the war chant ability, I believe, that MayShadow has gone for. And even with that war chant ability, I feel like these Lorien Warriors still going to be able to do significant damage to these Orc Warriors, as they've already taken out a large degree of them. But here come the Orc Archers in the back, will provide that back range support and should drive off of these Lorien Warriors before they do too terrible much damage. Instead, actually, these Orc Warriors going to be moving, Orc Archers rather, going to be moving to the south. MayShadow realizing now is going to pull them back and once again try and deal with a couple of these harassing units in the front of his base. Meanwhile, an additional unit of Lorien Warriors moving around the backside, looking for any potential weaknesses in the base of MayShadow. Up on the upper to the upper left-hand side, we do have a group of Orc Warriors moving around. Looks like they were not able to get any real damage done. Are chasing down a couple of pikemen at this point. But with the Lorien Archers in position in the back here, should be able to pick off these units quite quickly. And in fact, they do all go down. The Lorien Warriors on the lower left-hand side still alive as well. Toying with his opponent right now is Akashi-San, as he is pulling his forces back and forth, trying to make him chase these units all the way around the map. Meanwhile, along the backside, a group of Lorien Warriors will begin to work on a group of Orc Archers here, and do begin, in fact, to chase a couple of those down. But here comes some Haradrim Lancers here. MayShadow deciding to go up, throw up a Haradrim Palace and actually upgrade it to get out those early Haradrim Lancers, which will now be incredibly effective against these troops that do not have any pikemen mixed in. Now, is there actually pikemen on the field? I believe I saw a unit earlier for Akashi-San. Looks like he does indeed have one unit of Mifflin sentries out in the field. Right now, looks like going for those additional war pits has already taken off the one to the top. This is a strategy that we have seen Akashi-San utilize each and every game so far in this series. And that is going for those war glares early on to grab those extra resources, to get out the extra units that he wants to produce in order to take charge of these games. And so far, it's worked out pretty well for him. And every game definitely aiding in his battle strategy each of those games, despite losing one of them. And it looks like MayShadow is going to take a note out of Andy's book, or Akashi-San's book this time, as he will indeed pick off both of his own war glares there. And now is moving forward, might pick off Gollum here. That would be sort of an interesting pickup, but actually pulls back his troops, decides not to kill Gollum. I think the reason for that is either he's spotted a huge troop here moving across by Akashi-San, or more than likely, of course, if you kill Golem, the ring drops and your units will immediately pick it up and be revealed to your opponent. And I guess he doesn't want Akashi-San to know that his units are moving along the south side here. Akashi-San now moving through the center with a pretty sizable force. Plenty of Mythlan sentries in here, so those Haradrim Lancers will not be effective at all in dealing with this. He might lose a slaughterhouse here, is going to let that in fact fall. And for now, it looks like he's moving forward with all of his units, both from the south and the north. MayShadow launching a major attack here against Akashi-San. He has a few units back here to deal with it, but the main brunt of his army is across the ford now, is going to retrace their steps and return back home in order to help deal with this. The units here, not too terribly powerful. There is a group of Easterlings in here. Has any horsemen been produced yet by Akashi-San? Actually, some are being planned to be produced, but he's actually does not have the command points right now necessary to actually go ahead and produce those, and we'll get trapped here in a corner is MayShadow, so we'll have to indeed battle it out. Meanwhile, in the center of the attack here, looks like the Builder going to escape from that engagement just barely. We'll begin to plant down a Malaron tree here to the north. The remainder of MayShadow's troops here, looks like a single unit of Haradrim Lancers going to be able to make it out alive, as well as a single group of Easterlings here to the north. The remainder of them get pretty much bulldozed, though, as these Orc Archers are going to be a remaining group down here, but they should be very easily picked off by these troops, especially without a meat shield in front to take the brunt of this damage. And they will indeed all fall. The Easterlings in the backside here, as well as the Haradrim Lancers, going to be in a lot of trouble. Those Haradrim Lancers taking a lot of damage. One going to be able to survive. Of course, Mordor does not have the power to build a healing well, though. So this Haradrim Lancer is going to somehow have to get up to level 2 by himself in order to be able to actually regen any of his allies there for that unit, which of course could be quite difficult. MayShadow falling a little bit far behind here, has actually decided to go for a Mumakil pit, and has a singular a Mumik on the way. Singular, of course, for Mumakil. And this is an interesting choice here by MayShadow, going for those Mumiks in Mumakil instead of opting for a hero. We see neither player actually at any point in any of these games going for heroes, rather opting for the additional units that can be produced out on the field. And the first Mumik has arrived. Mordor, an incredibly powerful race with these huge giant units, really. And he is going to be moving forward with that now. The question is, what is Andy, or how is Andy going to respond to this? Akashi-San launching a pretty decent-sized attack right now, and should be able to deal with most of these very weak troops here. But as soon as that Mumik is spotted, Akashi-San is going to pull back all of his troops. Does not want to engage that quite yet. Back at his base, is he producing any additional units? For now, it looks like no. Is going to be holding off for the time being. The Mumik now moving to the south. A couple of pikemen moving to the north. The pikemen, even though they are still effective against the Mumik, not nearly as effective in this current patch against the Mumik as they might have been in patch 2.01, where basically a singular unit of pikemen could easily take down a Mumik. Now the Mumik, of course, has been slightly buffed, both in terms of, well, it now costs more, but it's far more effective even against pikemen, as you'll need several units and actually several units of pikemen actually in order to take it out. A group of pikemen to the north here able to take out an additional structure, and some Elven Rivendell Lancers showing up to aid in that battle as well. And Akashi-San here doing a nice job of claiming a large degree both of the battlefield and of the battles at this point. I feel like his armory is just both superior, almost in numbers and in terms. It's almost, I would say, equal in terms of numbers. And of course, the Elven troops very much more powerful than those of Mordor, especially these Easterlings and low-tier Orc warriors, of course, only costing 80 apiece, whereas almost all of these units cost at least 300 apiece. A rally call has gone down. Where is the Mumik? It looks like it's way to the south here. May have taken off a single Malorn tree, but really needs to be returning to this battle right now, as Mordor is getting basically stomped here. The forces of the elves too powerful here. The Haradrim Lancers not able to get a good charge through on any of those Elven archers, and Akashi-San looking to be in a very solid position here in Game 3. Of course, both of these players, once again, playing for their tournament lives. They need to win this game in order to advance on in this April 2015 tournament. Of course, hosted by none other than Game Replays. Guys, definitely, if you get a chance, are interested in learning more about Game Replays, about both the forums or the tournaments we hold, definitely join us at gamereplays.org. You can see myself as well as a lot of additional players who do still play the game, do hang out there quite a bit, so definitely worth your time if you are interested. It looks like a single unit here by Akashi-San going to be sacrificed so that the others might be able to escape. Now he's attempting to make a stand over here. Where is the Mumik finally just now returning to battle? Akashi-San able to retain a large degree of these units. Actually, some of those Lurian warriors actually making it out of there alive, and a great retention, unit retention rate here by Akashi-San, dealing a significant amount of damage both to the structures and to the army of MayShadow. More pikemen now moving through the center here, as well as additional horsemen, Mirkwood archers, and more sentries also back here at the base. Akashi-San doing an excellent job macroing back at home. Will lose a single Malorn tree here to a couple of these Haradrim Lancers, but might pick off some of them, especially with these Mirkwood archers in the back, to his benefit here. So if he can pick off more of these Haradrim Lancers, that is going to be a really nice pickup. These Mirkwood archers, definitely some of the best in the game. The Mumik now moving forward from the north. Plenty of Haradrim archers, as well as some Orc archers here to guard it as well. And what is Andy's response to this going to be? It is going to be a giant eagle that Andy has produced from his fortress here. You can see that perch on top, and Andy has summoned a giant eagle and immediately sent it in to deal with the Mumik. The swoop in takes almost half of the health away from that Mumik. A second swing in will deal the additional large amount of damage. Meanwhile, the archers on the ground able to take out that eagle, but not before it really dealt substantial amounts of damage to that Mumik, who really now needs to retreat and regenerate if possible. But additional troops now coming in here for Akashi-San, and a couple of arrows will indeed throw down that Mumik, or take it down rather. And that is a $1,600 unit. Now the giant eagle, I believe, costs exactly 1,000 here. Of course, he does need to buy the perch first, but that 1,000 cost eagle dealing very significant amounts of damage to that Mumik. And Andy here very aware of some of the counters in this game and utilizing those incredibly effectively to counter that of what his opponent is building. And MayShadow at this point might be reeling back a little bit, has decided not to produce another Mumik at this point, as that might be a lot of investment. Actually has decided now to produce another one. He figures, yes, I did take out the eagle, maybe I should produce another one for now, but also has a siege works going up as well, has that very upgraded Haradrim Palace. Now, the fire arrows not yet been researched. Meanwhile, these Haradrim Lancers trying to run around, trying to deal some sort of economic damage here to Akashi-San. Only one Haradrim Lancer once again going to make it away, as those Mirkwood archers take them down so terribly quickly. Looks like these Mirkwood archers working on a couple of orcs here to the north. They should be able to take that out quite easily. A hidden Rivendell Lancer here standing in the forest. Akashi-San now making an additional attack from the north, taking out an additional farm, bringing several of these units down. Might be able to get an additional slaughterhouse here as well. Can engage these forces. We still see no heroes out on the field. No Mirkwoods in this battle either, but these horsemen in the back could do a nice run through of some of these archers if he is paying attention. The misspell goes down here by Akashi-San, and the horsemen do in fact get a pretty nice charge through on some of those units there. Looks like they will be able to escape as well. That misspell here. Let's take a look. And actually we have the Summon Giant Eagle spell now being purchased by Akashi-San as well. That misspell granting friendly units within the mist becoming stealth, and of course reducing enemy armor and damage. So with that down and the eagle here on the field, actually a builder goes down here for Akashi-San, as he is basically now producing resource structures inside his opponent's base almost. couple of Mirkwood archers will begin to work on this barricade. These horsemen might go down here to it as well. MayShadow does have that additional movement now out on the field, but here comes the eagle once again. It has been spotted, or it has spotted the movement, and with a single swipe there, you can see takes out almost half the health of that movement. Desperately trying to retreat now closer to the fortress, but I think with a third swing in, that eagle will take out the movement incredibly quickly there. And that is once again a 1600 unit being killed off here by its almost direct counter, the giant eagle, for only 1,000 resources. So Andy here playing this match incredibly intelligently and slowly but surely backing MayShadow into a corner, I would say. He is now producing catapults. I think this is definitely the right choice. Has one out on the field already as he's trying to build units to deal with the ranged units that Akashi-San has. But Akashi-San has such a nice mix of units as well. Actually, Noldir warriors now making their way out to the field. These are not units you see every game, as they are incredibly expensive. But Akashi-San, as you can see, has just peppered the minimap with tons of Malaran trees and is making an incredibly substantial amount of income right now. MayShadow backed into a corner, actually almost up to an additional PowerPoint spell. Needs a few more, obviously, there, or really 14 more in order to get to that. 25 power. MayShadow, meanwhile, has spent all of his power points here on some lower tier spells, including Industry bonus, which he has cast, of course, on that slaughterhouse in the back, allowing it an additional, I believe, 3 times the amount of income there. So he is surviving, is producing some money, but is really at this point backed into a corner and is basically getting all of his units picked off here. As you can see, these Noldir warriors taking these units out incredibly quickly, literally throwing them across the map there as they get hit by those arrows. Meanwhile, the eagle looking to be in plenty good health here, as it does await overhead and is moving in now for the kill on the catapult. One swoop in will easily take out that catapult. We do have more on the way. No more mimics at this point in time, though. I mean, not surprisingly, considering how much MayShadow has invested in these Mumakil, and they really have not done the damage that he was expecting them to do. These Noldir warriors now shooting at these buildings from afar. A singular group of Haradrim Lancers don't even make it in range, in their own attack range, before getting taken out. A couple of the sentries being killed off here. Plenty of Haradrim archers out on the field, but the Noldir warriors still doing work, taking out all of these pikemen very easily. This one cannot escape himself either, and now the structures of MayShadow beginning to take substantial damage as these Noldir warriors begin to work them down. A couple of Haradrim Lancers will get a nice run through over here on the left side. A couple of Mirkwood archers involved in that group there, and will indeed get taken out, but the eagle now swooping in as well, and plenty of those units actually went down, and we actually see a unit armor being purchased here by Akashi-San, who at this point has so many farms that he is just brimming in wealth for sure, as he is able to spend all of those resources, or spend a decent amount of those resources to go ahead and get those more advanced upgrades, such as the unit armor. Let's actually take a look here at his what is this called? The Eregian Forge, and can actually produce, or has researched the Elven armor, could research the Forged Blades as soon as he gets a little bit of additional income. Let's take a look. Actually, he's sitting at 22 right now, so could easily purchase that if he so chose to. MayShadow sitting at several resources himself. I wonder if he's saving up for something. And if so, I'm not sure what. I think he's a little confused right now as to what to produce. We actually have an Edmund on the field that it is going to be Treebeard coming out, making an appearance again in this series. And this time the tables have turned. Last time it was MayShadow using him against Akashi-San, but this time Akashi-San has turned the tables, has the epic Treebeard out to now deal reverse damage to MayShadow here. And those rocks dealing a ton of damage from long range. A couple of catapults do launch some firebolts, but they are going to miss. The eagle moving in as well can easily take out these catapults if they are focused down. Treebeard retreating right now, does not want to get too close to the fire of those catapults, which will do additional damage. We do have a third Mumik now out on the field. That eagle looking to, in fact, may go down there, and he does lose that. So the Mumik temporarily going to have reign over the field, but I'm guessing, yes, Akashi-San immediately restarts that eagle, and we'll get that back out on the field here very quickly. Does not have a lot of additional units out on the field right now. Has a couple of Noldir warriors, Treebeard, a group of horsemen, but other than that, here goes the eagle summon though, and that is going to be right on top of the catapults. The remainder of the eagles will now focus on the Mumik, as well as picking off any more catapults. The summon Ent ability goes down as well here by Akashi-San, and he has the Mordor fortress in his sights now. These eagles moving forward. The rock drop goes down by MayShadow, but it's not going to be dealing too much damage here to these Ents. In fact, only does about half damage to them. A singular eagle goes down, a second one goes down. The Mumik able to survive for now. Treebeard still alive and healthy though, and these Ents continuing to deal a lot of damage to the frontal structures here in the base of MayShadow. Will lose an additional slaughterhouse. That is a level 3 slaughterhouse. So definitely does not like to see that go down, as it is a costly loss at this point. Actually hits his own troops there with some of those rocks. And now we are going to see an epic fight once again between a Mumik and Treebeard. Treebeard with the smash attack twice to the front, and then it is going to be a third smash right to the neck of the Mumik there, and he will indeed fall. Treebeard taking the victory, does get hit by a catapult and will fall back now, as he has taken a decent amount of damage. A couple more boulders coming in here from the Ents, and they are now about timed out. So this fortress going to stand for now, although he's lost several of his resource structures. You can see him throwing up tons of as many resource structures as he can in the back here, as MayShadow is really at this point backed into a corner and needs a giant victory really in order to come back into this game. Let's take a look at some of the PowerPoints. We have both the Summon Ent and the Summon Eagle allies having been purchased for Akashi-San. Meanwhile, MayShadow going, of course, for that Barrage ability for his 15. That will give him access to the Balrog as his 25 power, but he's nowhere near it at this point. Needs an additional 19 power points before he will be able to summon that. We'll actually have to see if he gets up to that or not. Meanwhile, Akashi-San now moving in from the top side has spotted a weakness in the base of MayShadow. A couple of undefended resource structures here to the north, a slaughterhouse, or a couple of slaughterhouses, and that lumber mill as well. Treebeard still causing an incredibly large amount of both annoyance and damage here to MayShadow, who does not have the troops right now to actually chase him down or take him out, really, for that matter. He's attempting to deal with some of these upgraded Mithlin sentries more. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, a couple of units moving in as well. Noldir warriors have their blades out, and the Mirkwood Arch is backing them up as well. More Noldir warriors moving in from the north as well here, and these Haradrim archers, which are not cheap, let's take a look, do cost 500 resources. So definitely at this time, not something that MayShadow wants to be producing or reproducing a ton of, are getting taken out pretty much at an alarming rate, I would say. And it looks like they might have been able to take out the majority of those Noldir warriors, 2 of them escaping here to the north. But an additional level goes to these Noldir warriors. The Mirkwood's still alive, not able to do a lot of damage to that catapult, and actually need to pull them back. These Lorien warriors do have the upgraded forged blades though now. It looks like that has been purchased by Akashi-San. Treebeard moving in through the center as well. Actually, this is not Treebeard, this is just a regular Ent. Where is Treebeard? Might have gone down to that. No, actually still is alive to the north here. Was able to escape with that speed that he has. With that speed that he has, which is actually, like I was saying in the previous game in 1, it seems to be quite quick. He can definitely dodge and get away from troops rather quickly, and he is basically being used by both of these players as a harass unit. To get in, do some structural damage, and then get out again really quickly. These other Ents moving quite quickly as well too. And that slaughterhouse is going to go down for MayShadow. We now have a huge attack moving in with several Mithril sentries, as well as a group of Lorien warriors. Where is the additional troops here the siege units for Akashi-San. Looks like for now they are still standing in the back. Could move in these Merfolk archers. We have an additional siege works that has gone down. He is trying desperately to get out these additional catapults to deal with both the ranged units and with the Ents, which of course they are incredibly effective against both of those. However, with the Eagle coming in, it's going to get a huge swipe attack right there and manages to take out 3 catapults in one dive. A 4th going down as well. Here comes out an additional catapult. But this Eagle is just wrecking the base of MayShadow, who's lost the majority of his archers, so he can't actually take out that Eagle. And Akashi-san just excellent play here in this final match, and I feel like he's at this point taken an incredibly substantial lead. I don't know what MayShadow can do other than potentially getting out a Balrog to really turn the tide of this game. I mean, even a Balrog, it is going to be difficult. Even using that to come back. I mean, he might be able to clear the field and do some damage, but Akashi-san just has the entire map under his control at this point. Loses the Eagle. That's really no trouble, though, as he has plenty more units here in the back, which can deal additional damage quite easily. These Noldor warriors up in the front, or the Lorien warriors actually up here in the front of the battle, will lose a couple of them, but not before they do a lot of damage. These Ents now working, looks like on the siege works, might lose that as well. Additional catapults coming out from the back. A barricade goes down in an attempt to protect this great siege works, as MayShadow realizes he has to keep his structures alive. He can't afford to rebuild some of these buildings. And these pikemen now moving forward to engage the Ents. Where is Treebeard? Is he still alive? Is he actually one of these units? These are both regular Ents. So I guess Treebeard is... I'm actually not sure if he went down or not. Nevertheless, there's plenty of units still here on the field for Akashi-san, who now has additional pikemen and Lorien warriors showing up. We'll be able to do a lot of damage to these unupgraded Easterlings, which should very quickly go down to the upgraded swords here of the Lorien warriors, and you can see them already going up to level 2 from the damage they've done. The Midland sentries going down, the catapults in the back still providing some additional damage, but the Ents are still alive. The expensive units sitting in the back here, the siege units slowly chipping away at the base of MayShadow. His fortress still sitting pretty good, but we do have the Flood spell now purchased by Akashi-san. Still 4 points away from that Balrog, and I want to see where he decides to use that Flood ability. Looks like he might go in soon for the finishing blow. Here comes additional units across the field. A couple of Mirkwood archers to the south. The Eagle now back out on the field is going to chase down one of those catapults. Gets it almost instantly there before these archers can even get off a shot, and it is going to escape as well. Even with the rally call, not enough to take it down in one volley. An additional slaughterhouse going down. The Ents moving in closer and closer with the help of their allies here now in front. And this base is looking to be in a lot of trouble. Horsemen from the south now as well. I believe Akashi-san making his final attack here. There goes the Flood ability down right through all of the structures of MayShadow. He loses quite a few of them. 4 structures go down, including both his Mumik Pit, his Haradrim Palace, and his Great Siege Works. So losing a ton of units, a ton of buildings there to that, and at this point, MayShadow has little chance of coming back in this game. He does have that 25 power ability just now coming available to him. His fortress is still alive, has purchased the Balrog, no doubt, considering where he wants to summon it. The question is, does he summon it here around his base to defend his fortress, or does he summon it abroad in order to take out the base of Akashi-san? But he's losing all the structures back here at home. These Ents still doing pretty good. The Eagle alive and well to protect them from these pikemen on the ground, providing air support overhead. He is going to lose an additional production structure to the south of his base here. An Ent summon going down as well. Now his fortress is in trouble. Now is the time he needs to protect it. An Eagle summon going down as well. The rock drop goes down on the Ents once again. It is not going to be enough to take them out, and a split by Akashi-san as well kills one of the Ents. There goes the Balrog down. 2 of the Ents getting thrown by that summon. But the Fortress taking a huge amount of damage. All 3 Eagles now attacking it. The Balrog returning in time. Will be able to kill 1 Eagle, but it's just not going to be enough. He's desperately trying to throw up towers, but his Fortress will in fact fall. And even though with the Balrog on the field, there's so much damage here by Akashi-San, and he will in fact win this game, taking game 3 and moving on in the tournament, eliminating a very, very powerful player in his first matchup here, of course, MayShadow, who had a valiant effort in this game, actually taking, of course, that first game, but has in fact lost the third and final match between these 2 players. I hope you guys have enjoyed this cast. Once again, appreciate everyone who likes, subscribes, and comments. I hope you have enjoyed this cast, guys. I hope you are enjoying this tournament put on by GameReplays.org. I will continue to move through the brackets and be casting all of the game, or a majority of the games, and look forward to the finals to see who won as well. I actually don't know yet because I haven't looked at the results myself, so hopefully you guys are excited about this as I am. Master Cloud signing off for now.